Hello, and welcome to the third and final part of the Personalizing an Avatar series. In this one, we're going to be doing some LogiX. Namely, we're going to be working on how to do a talk visualization effect for an avatar, as well as I thought it would be cool to do something like a chameleon effect, where your avatar can steal colors from your environment. I figured those were good choices because one's really popular and the other is just kind of neat. Specifically for the demonstration, I have one of my avatar behind me that has both of these that work in tandem, and this one over here is going to be the one that we're going to be applying stuff to, which will inevitably be the one that you want to work on. You can apply these just kind of to whatever avatar. So real quick, I'm going to swap it into this one and move this one off to this side. I'll move you to this fake mirror of mine. Oop. That was me previously. So you can kind of tell immediately that my colors are changing, and whenever I speak, my eyes and the little joints on my body flash and get brighter. Namely, it's kind of picking up stuff from the camera, but I can specifically look at things like these, and the eyes on this one go faster and kind of like pick up colors faster than the other parts. We're not going to be doing something so complicated. Namely, I just want to show you how to get it done, and then you can apply as many modifiers to it as you want. Without more delay, I guess I'll just swap into, in this one I'm gonna keep the camera on smooth POV, because working in third person and like having to set up specific cameras and things gets a little janky when we're playing with LogiX. So let me swap over real quick and get you over here. Let's see. I want to make sure I have my camera. So the two things you're going to need for this, dev tip as always, but also a LogiX tip. I won't be going into a deep explanation of how to use a LogiX tip, since it keeps the video concise, but there's plenty of other things and resources that you can use to figure that out if you're not familiar. So, starting off where we usually do, go ahead and find your materials and things. Specifically, the only thing we're going to be focusing on for this one is the kind of face texture. I know that one is right here, because the emissive map, namely for the face, is fun to play with and just kind of give any sort of color. Typically, if you want to apply a chameleon effect, you would want to look for some sort of color field on your avatar that could potentially lend itself to any color. It also helps if I already set up this avatar with a grayscale texturing and things of that nature, so things that don't have strong colors already also lend themselves to this effect. But we're going to be applying the flashy talk effect to that emissive color, as well as the chameleon effect. I already have one on here, huh? Well, that makes it easy for me. So, to get started first, before we touch the LogiX, go ahead and go to the head proxy on your avatar. This is a place where typically the information for audio and things is kept. So we need one component called volume meter, specifically for our effect to be most versatile. If you don't already have one on here, this one does, but in case you don't, go ahead and go to the bottom and go to attach component. You can find one of those components at media, utility, volume meter. And then this won't work out of the box. It has a source field where you would need to make sure the user's voice gets put into that source. There's another specific component that is typically always on the head proxy called avatar voice source assigner. You can duplicate one of those and then put the source of your new volume meter into that. But I believe if you don't already have an avatar voice assigner, I think you can go to, let's see, users, common avatar system, avatar voice source assigner, which is right down here. So you can get a fresh one if you want. But I already have all that set up for me on this avatar, so I'm going to use the one that's already here. This particular component is nice because it has, the volume is always going to be the output, which I think I can demonstrate that really quick. Let's go ahead and get rid of that gizmo on my face so that I don't get blinded when I'm in here. Okay, so I can look at the volume meter, and whenever I speak, it has the numbers go up. It's basically from 0 to 1 based on how loud I'm being. The different parameters here, power is how strong your voice is, so it's like an exponent that it applies to it. So it's a little weird, but if you make it a smaller number, like 0.2, then the value goes, originally it was like 0.2, 0.3 at loudest, but right now it goes up to like 0.8 at times. So if you have a quieter voice, louder voice, you can play with this. There's also smoothing, which does what you would expect. The higher the number, the smoother the value is. So it doesn't immediately go up as loud as it can or as low as it can whenever it has a chance, which is nice. I think for me, 0.2 on smoothing and maybe 0.3 on power was kind of around the best effect for my voice. So I'm going to swap back into my work avatar. Ooh. Come here. Okay. So go ahead and grab a LogiX tip and get the volume meter, grab the component, and just hit secondary so we get the card out of that. Then do the same for your material in question. We're going to be, again, looking at the emissive color on this card. And our output is going to be the volume for this. A really easy way to just get an effect that you want out of volume with few nodes is when you open up this panel, go ahead and go to Math and find Lerp. Lerp basically just interpolates between two values based on some value from 0 to 1. Has a from and a to. You can kind of see as they're named as the inputs. From is the starting point where if your input goes from 0 to 1, 0 represents from, and 1 represents to. So for example, I could, this is like an interpolation between, let's say, if I wanted from 5 to 10, some sort of value between there. If it's 0, it gives 5. If I do, missed. If I do 1, is 10. But I can do 0.5, and it'll give me the in-between of 5 and 10. So that's kind of how this works. We're going to do that with colors, and the way you can set up a lerp with colors very easily is take your color over here, wrap it all the way around, slap it in there, and now you have a node of color type. So I'm going to put the volume into here, and basically when your volume's 0, you're obviously not speaking, so you can set that as your default value, which I think the default value for what it is right now, what our emissive is right now, is 1. It's just white, which I think is a good start. You can obviously make it anything you want, but I think white is a good one right now. This second one is going to be what shows up as the loudest you can be, which, keep in mind, you won't always be as loud as possible, so it's reasonable to assume you can overshoot a little bit. For example, maybe I'll make this like pure red that's really bright. So then I can put that into the emissive color, and I will swap into the avatar so we can test this out. Move you over. And this is going to be the output. So this is the emissive color right now. Whenever I speak, it gets kind of red. I'm going to check the mirror really quick. Cool. Yeah, so whenever I speak, it flashes red, which is neat. You can increase the smoothing if it's a little too jarring for you. Again, on the component, which I think I left over here. Yeah. So the smoothing, I'll make it like 0.5. Then go check again. And it's a little bit smoother. That's nice. At this point, if all you wanted was talk visualization, you're kind of done. You can add as many modifiers to this as you want. But I wanted to add a chameleon effect to this, so that's the next step. Let me... There you are. Great. So, move you back over here. And I'll just turn this mirror off for more frames, I guess. So, real quick, I think I'm going to get rid of this, because I want to do the chameleon effect separate, and then we can combine it later. So right now the emissive color is just going to be 0 because I broke the drive, but that's fine. If you wanted to do a chameleon effect, the specific node you're looking for when you start out here is going to be under rendering, where we have sample color. And the way this one works is, if you've played with the color type before, which I think I'll actually spawn one of those out really quick. Cool. So it's this unassuming little thing. It colors things based on the color of this. So like, right now it's black. If I were to do that, it kind of turns black-gray. It's weird. But the important thing that people like about this tip is if you hit secondary, you can steal colors. That's essentially how this one works, but it gives you more control. It kind of does like a line from one point to another, and then based on what it sees along that point, it will give you a color. So you can look at the inputs here as point, direction. Those two are the starting point and the direction in which it draws a line. And then there's a reference, and that's like the working space in which it calculates the point and direction. So you can do it locally or globally or things like that. In near clip and far clip, I can explain in a bit. If you aren't familiar with vector math, don't worry. That is what we're going to be doing, but I'll explain the whole thing. It's actually not complicated. You don't actually have to do any math for this. But the important thing for sample color is deciding the slot on which you want to reference stuff. Basically the place you want to aim. Like for the example that I have, it's a place in between eyes, which is conveniently enough just the head proxy, which the gizmo always shows up at the origin. So if I just make this the reference spot by grabbing the slot, pulling out its card, and just making one of those, and just fix the error real quick, I can basically take reference of this place. The origin is the point 0, 0, 0, just the center of everything, where nothing is particularly moved in any direction. And then direction, we want forward, which in this case for Neos, the space is X, Y, and Z in that order. So if I make no numbers in any direction of X or Y and just make some in Z, then it will be forward. And that's the easy way to go about this. So I can just do, for these float 3 nodes, it's always X, Y, Z. So 0, 0, 1 is a unit vector in the forward direction relative to the head slot. So based on that, I can, well, before I do near clip and far clip, let me just get this working real quick. Unfortunately, if you attempt to do this right now, you won't get any color out of it, because this is one of those nodes where you need to write that information to something in order to see it and work on it in something that isn't just the exact frame. So this does have 2 outputs. Do on-sampled if you want the information. If you don't want to wait for the information, then do on-sampled start. But for what we're doing, we need on-sampled. And we're going to write that to a little storage variable under variables, storage, color. Go ahead and drop that in there. And now, when we get a visual of this in Pulse, it'll give us some number. Right now, you probably picked up the color of the gizmo itself, so let me get that gizmo out of the way. So when I do that, it picks up probably the grass. Let me grab our example colors here and kind of put it in front of that. So now it picks up that color. So basically it's properly taking from this point forward and catching what it sees. Actually, let me leave that there for a moment. Explaining near clip and far clip. The near clip is the first one. Basically, these two parameters define how, like, what area along the line it's drawing do you check for colors. Let me, real quick, get that gizmo up. So, we're going along this blue line, and near clip defines when along the line to start rendering stuff. Like, it picks up based on this distance. So at 0, it just starts at the very beginning, but in meters, the numbers are. You can define like maybe 0.1 meters along this line, then start picking stuff up. So you can define like if something's too close, it won't pick it up. This is useful if the spot you choose, either like a finger or like an eye or something, is within the avatar. You can make sure it doesn't pick up the insides of the avatar and just starts a little bit further along. Far clip does the opposite, where this will potentially go for like whatever default value you don't specify, but it will go for as long as you want. This is relatively expensive to run because it's doing rendering stuff and cameras and math, I don't know. So you want this to be not too expensive to run. So you can define a limit, maybe like, I think 10 meters is like a pretty decent distance if you just want to like pick up everything around you. I'm just going to do 5 meters for what we're doing. You can always play with that and determine what's best for what you want. Let me get another. Actually, I'll just grab both of these. Get 2 examples going. Get rid of the gizmo too, just to check. Since we changed numbers, I'm gonna check it again. Oh, it didn't work. Interesting. See, this is why you have to check. What if I make that 0.1? See, so I guess don't make the near clip 0. It worked when you didn't have anything in there, but make it like 0.01, and it won't complain. Cool. Alright, so that's working, but we want this to be a little automatic. So what I'm going to do real quick is set this on a timer, where we can go back all the way to the front here, go to flow. Sorry, I thought my mirror was on for some reason. Is your refrigerator running? You can go to flow, timer. And timer basically sends out impulses every X seconds, which is this one. I could do 1 every second, and it'll give me impulses once a second. You can make this as quick as you want for this. Again, considering performance, you can do as quick as you want, but something that isn't exactly, oh wait, that's right. I didn't hook it up yet. So now it does it automatically. The important thing about this node is that the updating user defaults to the host. You don't want that. You would want that to be specific to the avatar. And you can get the user of the avatar if you have take advantage of one more component that is conveniently still on the head proxy. I think it's, let me see. Yes. Go ahead and find avatar user reference assigner. And this one is like the avatar voice source assigner, except it gives you a list of references, and you can add one here, but we don't exactly have anywhere to put it. If you're cheeky, I imagine you can try to put it into the node, but that's not entirely obvious. So it's nice to be clean about it. This is a good chance to determine where we want to put our LogiX. It's okay to put it right underneath the major top here. So you can go ahead and click that. And I'll name this one LogiX color real quick. Space dash space color. noting your LogiX packing nodes like this is, packing roots, is just kind of nice to do. But we needed a slot because I need somewhere to store that original user. I can go ahead and go to Data, Reference Field, and in this little thing you can go ahead and type capital U, S-U, or S-E-R for user, enter, and then pull that out. So with this, I have a place to store the user. I can go back to the head proxy and finally put that reference into this. So now whenever the avatar receives a user, someone gets into it, it will populate this. So then I can use this as a reference. This is just one way I like to keep things tidy for my LogiX when I need to deal with avatar users. You can't directly connect this, unfortunately, but there is one thing you need to do, one more thing, which is in references, and then you get the little arrow, which is kind of fun. You can put that reference into this, and it basically translates it into a user type that you can use, and you don't need the card anymore. Cool. So, now with all that done, finally, I can hook up the color to the emissive color. And let me go ahead and test that out. Let's move you over, go to this mirror. Cool. So, right now nothing's happening, but if I get this and kind of put it in my face, I pick up yellow. And then if I do blue, I pick up blue, which is cool. But you'll also notice, every second it swaps very harshly to the next color. So with this setup, we can add, where's my grab sphere? I'm not used to this avatar. We can make some more changes. Oh, all the arrows. Well, let me just move you back over. And about there. Perfect. Cool. So, at this point, we have done a talk visualization effect and a chameleon effect on the same avatar. So now we can combine the two in a more complicated manner that looks nice. Let's go ahead and get that volume stuff back, which was very easy to set up. The volume meter, pull out the card. And what I think I want to do is we want to get the color, then do some stuff to it, and then make it brighter based on the volume meter, like we did before. So, one thing, I'll first address the choppiness, kind of like the sudden swap to the new color. It's not going to be lerp this time, but we can do smooth lerp, which does a lot of that work for you. Basically just makes things smoother that go into it. Like, as another example, I can do an output here. The top one is the target, the bottom one is the speed. Basically, the top one is the information, and the speed is how quickly it goes to that information. So like if I do a speed of 1, and I change from 0 to 5, the output kind of interpolates, kind of smooths out what changes here. So I can make that 0 again, and it goes down slowly. So I'll make this like a speed of 2, because that's a little nice. And I want this, again, in a type of color. So that's easy, just put that in there. Picks it up for us. Then move that to that. So now whenever the color changes, it will smooth out for us. Oh, that's right. Let me just get another pulse node. It didn't pick up white, but that's or red, but that's fine. I see, here we go. So yeah, we have that covered, but now I think I want to incorporate the volume stuff. And that is even easier than what we were trying to do before. We don't even need the lerp node. You can go to operators and go to the little multiply node, where this one operates pretty funny sometimes. If you make sure you put in the volume to the bottom one first, you can put in a color, and it allows you to multiply a color by just some float. But this is a problem, because we can't use this directly. This is just going to be black until we start talking, which then it'll go up to like the maximum of one of these. So like considering the problem we had previously, we want like a baseline. So a quick, easy fix for something like that is to go back to operators where you still have it open and grab one of these ++ increment nodes and just kind of put that in between. Basically that adds 1. So instead of from 0 to 1, it'll give you from 1 to 2. So it'll multiply the output by 2 potentially. At that point, I think we can test this out really quick. Hop in here one last time and take a look. So whenever I speak right now, it's probably just picking up black, so there's like a little bit of an effect, but if I get white really quick, make sure I'm looking at that, and the effect is still like a talk visualization thing, which is nice. If I can grab another color real quick. And now, whenever I speak, the blue also gets brighter, but it also, has a dynamic color. So that's cool. You can add all sorts of modifiers to this sort of thing. Like making the volume stronger by like doing, instead of an increment, you can do another multiply if you wanted to. Just kind of taking one of these, sliding it in here, and then multiplying by whatever number you want, say like 3, so then it'll be even stronger. But that's basically it for a combination of those things. Like I said several times, you can add as much to this thing as you want. You can increase the rate, you can change the place where it goes, I've done it before where this sample color is based on where the avatar is looking. You can do something like that. Or you could even like do a weird gradient thing where based on how much you're talking, you do like it cycles through different colors, all sorts of crazy stuff. But this is effectively the base amount of stuff you would need to have a fun, I keep doing that, a fun sort of setup like this. So with your packing route selected, you can go ahead and do that, and you'll probably need to do it twice. And now everything's packed up. So your avatar is ready. You can go ahead and run around with your fun effects going on and wow people, confuse people, do whatever you want. Oh, where is it? There we go. Okay. It's a little weird, but you can always tweak it as much as you want. That is essentially all I wanted to find out and get the information for you in this episode. If there's something else that you want me to explain, like for future videos, I have no more ideas for future videos, so if you have something you want me to explain, just let me know in the Discord. Until then, have fun making stuff.